Customizing your keyboard is the best way to make it your own, more personal, especially if you use that board daily for gaming or productivity, anything. And that's what we're going to be doing today with the top gaming keyboard on the market. But let's take it from the beginning. So this is the Wooting 80HE. Stock with their black zinc alloy case you can either get completed with the build for $289 or buy the case separately for $110 from Wooting. Either way, altogether it's a pretty impressive build that's atop most people's lists for best on the market. And I know for me, I had this ranked as the top gaming keyboard from 2024, and many reviewers out there feel the same way. Only thing it really lacks are true customization options. So that's what we'll be doing today, completely changing this up. Getting inside's pretty simple, just 7 screws underneath separate the top and bottom frame, letting us get it disassembled. And since we have the keycap, switches, plate, and PCB all sandwiched together as one piece, that'll let us easily swap out components in just minutes. And yes, besides the case today, I'll be swapping switches, keycaps, as well as some other personal accents to finish off the build. But that's about it for the zinc alloy case. Big question is, with their rather proprietary PCB and layout, what other case is compatible? Well, from KBDFans, they have their own GT-80 case, which still keeps the same design language with similar bezels, rounded edges, and cutouts, but adds a bit more flair with color options and accents. Things like removable badges and swappable strap buckles on the side not only let you build it to your preference, but match it to your entire setup. Wooting's cases just had black, white, raw, zinc, and the plastic case options, while the GT-80 has 8 different case colors to pick from, as well as the ability to pick a case with or without that top badge, and then pick and choose additional badges or strap buckles for just $4 a pop. So my early unit here they sent out, because it's still up for pre-order, is the anodized black finish with the stock brass badges, which comes in right at $125 for this configuration. Okay, now for a side-by-side comparison of the cases real quick before we go on with the build, want to point out some of the differences besides, like the visual accents and stuff. And a few things stuck out immediately to me. First being the weight. So the stock Wooting case, again, this is their zinc alloy. This comes in right at a little over 1,300 grams, 1,330 we'll call it. So pretty hefty overall, and that's in comparison to the all aluminum of the GT-80, again 1,330, 1,258. So while it's not a major difference on paper, this does feel lighter in the hand, so worth pointing out. Next up is going to be the height difference for the backside and that backside elevation. Stock on the Wooting case, I believe it's around like 2 or 3 degree typing angle, whereas on the GT-80, it's elevated a bit more at 7 degrees. So a slight elevation there towards the back, again, for just the stock case. And then also the actual material to the cases themselves, the finish is just slightly different here, with the stock Wooting case having a bit of a textured material to it. It feels like that sort of like a textured powder material, versus on the GT-80, the finish here is a very, very clean matte finish. So no texture at all. With the obvious downside here to the no texture is the fact that it's a fingerprint magnet, and it makes those a lot more apparent and visible, as you can probably tell. And then lastly, in terms of construction, as you saw on the Wooting, we have those 7 screws which keep the top and bottom frame together. Then it has these clips all along the inside of the case and the plastic case as well, which also lock it into place. Versus on the GT-80, we have a completely screwless design here. So no screws on the top or on the bottom. Looks nice and clean because it uses this ball catch design on the top and bottom frames. So it locks in nice and cleanly, giving a much more minimal, look on the top and bottom. And then using those ball catches here, it just locks in, makes it really easy to pop on and off. So really mod friendly, and it won't come loose or anything during use. It does lock into place. So I much prefer this over the screws in the frame. But now comes the tedious task of removing the keycaps and switches for new ones. And besides the physical change, the switches and keycaps are going to drastically change the way the board feels as well. So this just as important as a new case when it comes to really making this my own. From Wooting, I had their stock Lecker L60 V2s, so their new linear 60-gram switches, and they were more than fine. But over the last year, a ton of really good new Hall effect switches have come to market. And some of the best out there are from Gateron with their Jade Pros. These and the Geon Raws are top 2 right now, I'd say, but personally, I like these more. And even though the Jade Pros and the Leckers both have a palm stem, polycarbonate top housing, and a nylon bottom housing, these are lighter at 36 grams versus 60 grams, but they have a longer 20mm spring. And these have a really nice factory lube job that make these just feel incredibly good to type on. So yes, for gaming, the 3.5mm travel distance down to 0.1mm with these Hall effect switches is the main selling point, but for me, it's all about the feel here, and it's why I picked these switches over others. Only downside is they come in packs of 70, and obviously we need 84 for our build, so you're gonna need to pick up 2 packs. Now it's time to get it all back together. The GT-80 doesn't have any foam inserts, so I'm just gonna be reusing the one that came with our Wooting case. And speaking of reusing, we do have to pop out and use the daughter board from our Wooting as well, because this gets mounted in the center of the build versus the left side from the 80HE. I did notice, however, despite being fully screwed in, it was still pretty loose overall. And you don't want to have a loose daughter board since that's what we're going to be connecting our USB cable to. So I just got some 3M adhesive and applied a little strip underneath. That way, it'll give it a nice pad to rest on and help keep it in place, in addition to being mounted. And this seemed to do the trick. Then from there, reconnected the JST cable from our motherboard to the daughter board, so they're now connected, seated it back on the gasket shelves inside the bottom frame, so those rubber gaskets could still, provide some nice bounce despite that layer of foam underneath, which thankfully didn't cause any tolerance or interference issues. I'm not 100% sure if KBDFans are going to ship this with a foam insert or some sort of dampening pad, but again, you have one with the Wooting, so just going with that. And now for a part that can completely make or break a build visually is a complimentary keycap set. I was between a few, but honestly, I just love the KBDFans neon set so much that I didn't want to stray away from it. And you've probably seen this set on the channel. I've had it in 3 or 4 builds now. I just love the way it looks. It's a triple shot ABS set that feels really nice. The Japanese accents and midnight green splash of color is just killer, and it complements the overall vision I had in mind for this board and the rest of my setup. The only thing I'm not in love with, which kind of sticks out now like a sore thumb, is the brass badge on the board. Now again, KBDFans was nice enough to send this out to me early for this video and to customize my Wooting, but if it were up to me, I would have gone with the top case option that didn't have the badge there, because it's just not doing much for me. So my remedy is going to be something that I've done a few times in the past when it comes to customizing my peripherals, and the real ones get extra brownie points if you already called this, but I'm going to hit the badges with a primer, a black coat, and then my trusty emerald turquoise color shifting paint. This is cool because it shifts hues depending on the way the light hits it, from that blue to that green color. Really makes things pop and stand out. I've done this on full keyboard cases in the past, tips of my mice for some extra grip, keycaps even, just a really cool complement piece here to the entire build and my setup. Now, we're not done there because as I also noted with the optional badges and stuff, there's also the buckle strap, which was most sort of famously introduced back on the Wooting 80HE when that dropped. That, however, wasn't a design choice carried over to the stock 80, but the GT-80 brings that option back. So I got a topo strap and, of course, match it to my midnight green colorway, which goes hand in hand with my mouse pad as well. So just completely changing up that stock Wooting that we got in to now a completely different species with the GT-80, much more suited to my style. And I really love the looks of the final result here. From moving the daughter board to dead center, adding the colored accents with the keycaps and an artisan, the strap, all new switches, it does look and feel like a completely new board. Check this out. So, I mean, a lot of Hall effect boards out there don't sound good, and I was kind of hesitant on how this would sound with it being a lighter case overall. You know, the aluminum is not as dense as the zinc alloy is, but I think altogether it's a combination of a lot of different stuff. The switches here sound and feel fantastic. The keycaps also being, you know, triple shot ABS also helped change up the sound profile. So it's a lot deeper than it was stock when I did my review of the initial 80HE when we got it in. And again, I think altogether sounds good, feels good, looks good. I am loving the new result here we have with our Wooting transformed with the GT-80 from KBDFans. If you guys want to check it out, I'll have it linked for you in the description down below, along with some other, you know, accent pieces here, things like even the switches, which you can get for a pretty good deal. I saw they were on sale, even a few bucks off. So all the components and stuff that I used to get this build together, I'll have dropped for you guys in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you like the new build. Drop your comments down below. Do you like this? Do you hate it? I really don't care. It's my board. I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.